Hello Wargamers, I'm Invasive Ramnus, and today I want to talk about how to use the new Space Marine Codex as an allied detachment for Tau. So, very big Codex release, everyone's very excited about it. Space Marines, yeah, Space Marines! It's very great, it's a big deal. But I want to do a video talking about how you might benefit from them as a Tau player, or if you're not a Tau player, what you might expect to see on the tabletop coming at you. So, that's what this video is about. Before I actually get to that though, I just want to say thanks for watching. Let me know what you think in the comments below about Space Marine Codex, either in general or as allies for Tau. What do you think is good, what's not so great, things like that. And of course your subscriptions are always greatly appreciated. So, on with the show. I did a video similar to this for the Eldar release, and that's down here on my channel, Eldar Allies for Tau, New Eldar Codex. And in that video, I talked about how Tau need 3 things from allies. And you could maybe even drop one of those from the list now, but not really. So there are 3 things that Tau need from allies, and that is they need to have some sort of psychic defense or power. They need to have a durable mobile scoring unit, and they need to have reliable anti-tank. Tau lack those 3 things, and could use those 3 things. Whereas, like having a strong assault component is something that they don't have, but they don't necessarily need it. In fact, having a strong assault component, like I'll talk about in a little bit, could actually be detrimental. So, yes, those are the 3 things. And so, when we're looking at the new Space Marine Codex, we have to ask ourselves, what things can fill those roles? But before we can even do that, we need to look at the different chapters, because the Space Marine Codex is broken up into chapters, and each chapter has special chapter tactics. So those basically reflect the different fighting styles of all the different Space Marine chapters, whether it's the Ultramarines or the Imperial Fists or the Salamanders. They all have different chapter tactics, and that's going to influence what units you want to bring, or what chapter you want to bring. And so that's what this video is going to be about. It's going to be about the chapter tactics, because that's the first thing you need to decide on. Before I get going though, I need to let you know I don't have the physical codex yet, so I'm using some images that I found on the internet. These images just happen to be from a blog called gamingranting.blogspot.com, and I have never read any of the articles. I just found the pictures because I was looking for information on the rules, and this blog had them. So if you've read this blog, let me know what you think of it. Like I said, I haven't read it, so I can't vouch for if it's a good blog or a more mediocre blog. So, but I do need to cite my sources, so there's that. All right, so on with the show. The first chapter is the Ultramarines, which have kind of a unique set of chapter tactics in that it's not a passive thing. Most chapters have kind of a passive rule that just like X does Y. But the Ultramarines have a set of combat doctrines which you can evoke once per game. So you have a tactical doctrine. Models in this detachment reroll all hit rolls of 1 made in the shooting phase. Models in the detachment's tactical squad instead reroll all failed to hit wounds made in the shooting phase. So tactical squads are basically twin-linked, whereas others have preferred enemy. Assault doctrine, units in the detachment can reroll their charge range. Models in the detachment's assault squads, bike squads, and attack bike squads instead have the fleet special rule that can get you into combat better, right? And Devastator doctrine, models in this detachment may reroll to hit and snap shots, including overwatch shots, notably. In addition, models in the detachment's Devastator squads have the relentless special rule unless they disembark for a transport in their movement phase. So gives you a little bit more mobility with your heavy weapons fire. So those are cool things, but they are once per game rules, and I am pretty apathetic for once per game rules just because it's hard to know when exactly to use them. It's going to be, well, I could use it now, but it might be better to use it in a little bit, or or you just completely forget about it, right? So once per game, warlord traits once per game, rules like this can be easily forgotten and are not something that I particularly enjoy using or recommend using for that matter because of that. Unless you are just really on the ball and have incredible foresight as to how the battle is going to go. So that's not so hot. Sorry that this picture is a little blurry, but it's the White Scars Chapter Tactics, and from here on out, they're all going to be passive abilities, right? So White Scars, guys on bikes, white armor, you kind of get the idea, right? Born in the Saddle. Models in the detachment with the bike unit type automatically pass dangerous terrain tests and receive +1 to their Jink cover saves. In addition, they add 1 to their strength when resolving their hammer wrath hits. Oh, man. Seriously, that's awesome. +1 of their Jink saves on bikes. Whew. Love that. So makes them, and even, so Space Marine bikers are pretty solid to begin with, right? They're durable and they're mobile. They're not as mobile as Eldar jet bikes, but they're still on bikes and they can still, get around really fast. So that's awesome. And bikes are good, and having a +1 to their Jink save is even better. So sweet. Works for me. Fight on the move. Models in this detachment have the hit and run special rule. Note that this does not apply to models in units that include models in Terminator armor, Devastator Centurions, or Assault Centurions. Not surprising that those really big models don't have hit and run. But what this means for Tau allies is that even if you have Space Marine allies that end up getting in combat, you can get them out of combat, which is great. Tau don't want anybody to be in combat, whether it's them or their allies, because if they're in combat, then you can't shoot at them. So that's why it's not so great to take orc allies if you're planning on assaulting with things. You don't want assault-based allies because basically, if your ally is doing their job, then you can't do your job, whereas you would rather have everybody doing their job at once and actually synergizing together instead of taking away from each other. So because of that, having hit and run is really great because it allows you to more effectively control the battle and actually use your firepower when that's what you need to be doing. So great addition. And so for that reason, having a better Jink save, more durable bikes, and having hit and run across the board, whether it's with bikes or tactical squads or whatever, except for these heavier guys, that's awesome. So White Scars pose a really good option for being Tau allies. Imperial Fists. So bolter drill. Models in this detachment may reroll all 2 hit rolls of 1 made with bolt pistols, bolt guns, storm bolters, heavy bolters, or combi weapons that are firing as bolt guns. This rule does not apply to Hellfire, Kraken, Vengeance, or Dragonfire rounds. So bolters get to reroll hits of 1. Cool. And that's beneficial because in the Space Marine Army, bolters are kind of like the workhorse, everyday, standard issue weaponry, right? So that's a lot of ones that you have the option of re-rolling, and so that can be useful. But having more reliable firepower, in the form of a bolter shot is not necessarily something amazing from the perspective of a Tau player, just because we can do similar things with our own army. So it's not necessarily anything new, but it's still a cool asset. Siege Masters, on the other hand, is a little bit more special. It brings something more to the table than Bolter Drill does. So models in the detachments, Devastator Squads, and Centurion Devastator Squads have the Tank Hunter special roll and add 1 to the result when rolling on the building damage table. Cool. So if you remember at the beginning of the video, I said Tau need reliable anti-tank. Well, the reason for that is because Tau currently only have a couple things capable of puncturing AV-14. That is the Hammerhead Railgun, the Fusion Blaster, and the Ion Accelerator Ordnance Nova Charged Blast. Right? So those are 3 things that could actually do something to AV-14. And so especially with the release of Space Marines with Land Raiders and all their fun vehicles, having something that can actually deal with armor effectively is probably going to be more important in the future. If not, you still see it as is today, so it's still something that we need to address. And so having Devastators with Tank Hunter special rule is pretty great. It gives you potentially a longer range option than Fusion Blasters and built-in Tank Hunter, so you don't have to put a commander with a Pure Tide Engram Neuro chip in a unit just to have Tank Hunters. You can either double up on Tank Hunters in 2 different units. You can go and have him do something else somewhere with a different unit. So that frees up a commander in some regards, and that can be a big asset. So having Devastators with Tank Hunters built in can be really helpful for Tau. And for that reason, Imperial Fists also offer kind of a good option for Tau allies. Alright, Black Templars. These poor guys. They got absorbed into the new Space Marine Codex, and yeah. But anyway, their chapter tactics: accept any challenge, no matter the odds. Very heroic. But when engaged in a challenge, Black Templar characters reroll all failed to hit rolls and have the rending special roll. Cool. That's great for challenges. But as Tau, we don't want to be in challenges. Like I said, don't want to be in combat. So having a challenge mechanic built into an army is, don't want it. Not really bringing anything to the table. Not doing anything for me. So pass on that. Crusaders. Black Templars models have the Crusader and Adamantium Will special rules. In addition, Black Templar detachments have access to a special unit called a Crusader Squad. Neat. But this really is only going to come into play for like running, right? Crusader allows you to reroll your run distances. So it can be a marginal increase in mobility, so addressing that second demand of Tau allies, durable mobile scoring. But it's running, so it means that you can't shoot with that unit, and who really cares? I guess I don't know, but it's kind of a wishy-washy thing on whether or not that's great. Again, this is kind of a more assault-oriented option, so not really something that Tau would benefit from bringing. Next one is Iron Hands. Flesh is weak. Models in the detachment have Feel No Pain 6-up special rule. Note that if they benefit from more than one instance of Feel No Pain because of a Netharticum, for instance, they use the best version available. So this is cool. It's like having an ethereal just hanging around everybody in the Iron Hands. But because of that, it's not necessarily bringing anything new to the table because we can do our own Feel No Pain 6-up already. But at the same time, I'm not going to complain about having Feel No Pain on anybody. So that's cool, and makes your units a little bit more durable. So that can be helpful too. Machine Empathy. All vehicles and characters in this detachment have the It Will Not Die special rule, even though vehicles do not have the Chapter Tactics special rule. Furthermore, Tech Marines and Masters of the Forge in the detachment add 1 to their Blessing of the Omnissiah rules. Cool. That again, a little bit more durability, but only going to be affecting a few models in your army. Not something necessarily to write home about for allied detachment. Raven Guard Chapter Tactics. Strike from the Shadows. Models in the detachment have the Scout special rule. In addition, on the first game turn, models in this detachment have the Stealth special rule. Note that units that include models with the bulky or very bulky special rule do not benefit from either rule. So, alright, again, big fat guy running through the forest, not going to be very stealthy. I get it. But giving everyone else Scout and Stealth is pretty cool. It allows you to get guys up close, so again, it helps with your mobility and a little bit with your durability in the first turn with that with having stealth. So this can be really effective in missions like the Relic, when getting there first is really important. So that can be helpful, and it can also help you just kind of get closer to some objectives early on in the game too. So especially like ones if they're placed kind of out in the middle of somewhere weird or anything like that, that can be helpful. Wing Deliverance jump infantry models in this detachment may use their jump hacks in both the movement and assault phases of the same turn. Furthermore, they must re-roll failed to wound rolls caused by their hammer wrath hits. That's cool, but seeing as assault marines aren't troops, that's not not super amazing. Again, we wouldn't want to take assault marines because we don't want to have things in assault. So, that is not really here or there, because if you took assault marines, that'd be cool because they'd be more mobile, but they're not scoring, and we don't want things in assault, so you wouldn't take assault marines. So there's that. But it does, from kind of a third-party perspective, it does synergize well with Strike in the Shadows, just for getting into assault. So not something for Tau, but just in general, that's kind of a cool combo. I like that. And then the last chapter tactics are for Salamanders. Flamecraft. Models in this detachment can reroll their saving throws against wounds caused by flamer weapons, as defined in the 40k rulebook. Furthermore, flamer weapons used by models in the detachment may reroll failed to wound rolls and armor penetration rolls that do not result in glancing or penetrating hits. Cool. So I get it. Salamanders are fiery, so makes you effective against flamer weapons. So especially if Sisters of Battle come back in a big way, that can be helpful. And then having Salamanders for twin-linked flamers, basically, it can be helpful against orcs and Tyranids and stuff like that. But Tau don't really have a problem with that to begin with. We can mow down orcs and Tyranids pretty effectively. So, not necessarily bringing anything special to the table, just kind of a cool rule. Master Artisans, during army selection, each character in this detachment may upgrade one of his weapons, even when purchased as an upgrade, to have the master crafted special rule at no additional cost. Cool. Again, only going to affect a few of your models, so not something to write home about, but very neat in terms of the fluff of the Salamanders and everything like that. So, if we go back to this, what chapters meet our needs? What chapters are going to offer us psykers, durable mobile scoring units, and reliable anti-tank units? Well, as far as the first one goes, psykers, none of those chapter tactics had anything to do with psychic abilities, right? So, which chapter you choose isn't going to influence whether you take a librarian or not, which you should probably just take a librarian as your HQ choice for Tau. But some special characters are notable in this regard, though, like Tigurius of the Ultramarines. He's the master librarian, very powerful, knows all the disciplines. So he's notable in that way. So if you want to really have Tigurius, you would have to take the Ultramarines, unfortunately. But yeah, so but aside from that, there's not really a whole lot to talk about with psykers. Durable mobile scoring, white scars, baby, white scars. Improved jink and hit and run. Bikers are durable, although not as fast as Elder jet bikes. Hit and run allows you to keep units out of combat and actually use the majority of your army the way it's supposed to be used, and kill things from shooting them from far away. So, as far as providing a durable mobile scoring unit, I would say stick with white scars. They're pretty solid. As far as providing a reliable anti-tank unit, Imperial Fists are probably the guys you want to go with. Having even more accurate bolter fire, right? Because Space Marines are already, not bad at shooting. Having reroll ones Yeah, okay, they're going to be pretty accurate most of the time. Having that is nice, but it's nothing super fancy about having more strength 4 shots. I'm not going to complain about it, but it's nothing super fancy. What really is important here is having the tank hunters built into devastators. So you could certainly take devastators and just have them have tank hunter right off the bat. Don't have to worry about having your commander be in that unit. You can have him with a different unit, fulfilling a different role, doing something else. So it frees up your commander to do something other than babysit guys for tank hunters. So that's nice. However, if you had to choose one chapter to take, I'm advocating White Scars or Imperial Fists. Which one would you take? I would go with White Scars. White Scars, I think, is where it's at. And the reason for that is because you can still do some of the same things with White Scars that you would do with Imperial Fists. You can take a librarian for your HQ choice, so that gives you some psychic abilities. Throw him in with your broadsides or something. He'll probably be happy there. Take some bikers. White Scar bikers are going to be awesome. And if you still want to have that anti-tank portion of your allied detachment, take some devastators, put the commander with the Pure Tide chip in there. Because they're battle brothers, it should work out just fine, and they can get tank hunters that way. So you might have other options though too. So yeah, I'd say stick with White Scars. They're probably going to be the chapter that you want to use for an allied detachment for Tau. Alright, so thanks for watching. Let me know what you think in the comments below, and happy wargaming.